All right, what's going on YouTube? This is BoxingWave here to talk about Canelo and Kovalev. All right, we got the fight coming up in a few weeks, and I haven't done a breakdown yet. I'm not really super comfortable yet with doing a breakdown video because I'm still watching film of their old fights, and I'm just not 100% sure. I'm leaning towards Canelo, but the reason why I haven't done a breakdown, I could do a breakdown, but the reason why I haven't done it is because I'm leaning towards Canelo, but I don't think it's going to be a knockout in this fight, whatever way it goes. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think both fighters have clear advantages for this fight. And the reason why I'm leaning towards Canelo is because I think if it's a hard, tough, close, competitive fight, which I believe it will be, one that goes to a decision, I don't believe there's going to be a knockout in this fight. I think it's going to go to Canelo if the fight is close. Okay, just judging on history. All right. Uh, Canelo has received a couple of gifts in his career, and in my opinion, he has. And we all know that Kovalev arguably lost the first fight to. No, Kovalev arguably won the first fight to Andre Ward. I believe he won, and I'm a Ward fan. I believe that Kovalev won the fight. All right, so I haven't really decided yet on where I'm going with this fight. But what I will say is that I don't think the public is giving Kovalev much of a chance. I mean, it's like whenever I bring up this fight to people, everybody's like, he's just gonna dust Kovalev off. And I don't know why it's like that. I mean, I know Kovalev got stopped a couple of times, one to Andre Ward, one to Alita Alvarez, but he avenged his Alita Alvarez loss, and he also beat an undefeated Anthony Yard. Yard, who I don't believe is as talented as Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, he's not, but that is a big, strong, physical fighter that Kovalev had to win, and he took a lot of damage in that fight and was able to pull off that win. That was a very tough fight, against a bigger guy than Canelo. Now, I mainly wanted to speak on size. I'm going to speak on a few things, but I wanted to mainly speak on size in this video because is size really a factor? I believe yes and no. Okay. Why I say no is I say no because I think Canelo is much bigger than advertised. It seems like whenever he steps in the ring on fight night, I'm not talking about the face-offs, the weigh-ins, none of that. I'm talking about the actual moment that for him and his opponents are actually in the ring. He does not appear to be much smaller. Yes, he's shorter than all of them. Rocky Fielding, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Daniel Jacobs. Yes, he may be shorter than these guys, but when he's in the ring with them, he doesn't look smaller to me. I think out of his recent fights, the only fight that he looked smaller or slimmer than usual was the second Gennady Golovkin fight, where he did actually trim down a lot in that fight, but he had a lot better stamina in that fight. He was able to um, fight at a high level in the later rounds too in that fight, as opposed to the first fight. The first fight is when he gassed out. He was dominant early, but he gassed out at the end of that fight or in the second half of that fight, which is when Gennady Golovkin took over. All right, so size, I don't think I say no because Canelo is much bigger than advertised. He's a very massive, very muscular dude, and this is not a fight where he's gonna have to worry too much about draining himself at all to make 160 or 154 like he did in the past. Even going back to 154 in one of his last fights at 154 when he fought Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto, who had won a title at 160, even though he wasn't a true guy at 160. Uh, just remember the difference in size between him and Cotto. He was much more bigger than Cotto. Just looking at the very beginning of the match when they had that face off and they was getting receiving their instructions for the fight. It looked like Canelo was two weight classes above Miguel Cotto. So he really belonged at bare minimum. He belonged at 160. And to be honest with you, I think Canelo could easily fight at 168. Easily fight at 168. He might be shorter. He might not have the reach of some of his opponents. but he knows how to make up for it. You saw in fights where he fought bigger guys like Triple G, Danny Jacobs, like the guys I named before. All right, but another thing is too is look at the two fighters that he fought above 160. You had Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. You had Rocky Fielding. Now those guys are not nowhere near the level as a Sergey Kovalev. As far as talent, they're nowhere near Sergey Kovalev. Neither one of them. Okay, especially Rocky Fielding. All right, but you can see at that fight that those guys were clearly bigger than Canelo. Clearly, and it did not mean absolutely nothing. It meant nothing. All right, so Sergey Kovalev, who is going to be a bigger fighter, he is not a physically imposing fighter. He's big, yes. He's bigger, yes. He's taller, yes. He's rangier, and he knows how to use his range, unlike guys like Chavez Jr. or especially a Rocky Fielding. All right, but Kovalev is not a physical fighter. He's a strong puncher, but he's not a physical fighter. You look at Lita Alvarez, if you look at Andre Ward, okay, two of the guys that he lost to, even against John Pascal. John Pascal could be a very physical, rough, dirty at times fighter. That's just the way he brawls. And Kovalev is a big puncher. And then even Andre Ward said it himself. Andre Ward said when he was talking about their fights, and I see it. Even though Kovalev was a big puncher, he's not a physically strong guy. He was able to manhandle Sergey Kovalev. Reminds me of like the same guy I always said in my videos, Andre Ward. I mean, not Andre Ward, Andre Berto. All right, when Berto, even though he's physically like fit, he's all year. He's a fit dude, very muscular looking guy. All right, but he's not physically that strong because when he was in the ring with guys like a Sean Porter or like a Robert Guerrero, they kind of just was physically stronger than him. You know what I'm saying? They were manhandling him, and Berto was just sometimes his feet when he would be on the ground, it's just like they was just treating him like a rag doll. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean when I say no. I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference because even though Kovalev is bigger and you're going to see that he's bigger, he's taller, he's longer, and everything like that, I think Canelo's going to be right as far as weight is concerned and size. He's going to be right where he needs to be. This is not like him fighting a Beterbiev or a Yard or a Sullivan Barrera or some of the other bigger guys at 175. Guys that could probably be cruiserweights but make it down to 175 because the cruiserweights are bigger dudes. Cruiserweights are guys that could easily be fighting at heavyweight, and we know Canelo and not even Kovalev. Kovalev is not a heavyweight level type of guy or anywhere near it. He's not even a cruiserweight. Kovalev belongs at 175, where I feel like Canelo belongs right below 175. At 168 easily, he can easily be a 168 fighter. All right. So yes, there is a size advantage there, but you gotta also understand that Canelo is also a very durable fighter. On top of that, he has a hell of a chin. I mean, how much have we really seen him get hurt? I haven't seen him get hurt since Jose Cotto. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long, long time since we seen Canelo in big trouble in a fight. You know, where I think size does come into play though is that, and this is why I feel like a lot of people are underestimate Sergey Kovalev. Kovalev is used to getting touched by bigger fighters. Guys that have been fighting at their whole career at 175. Elita Alvarez is a naturally big guy, and a good boxer at that. You know, Kovalev's getting fights with him, guys like Anthony Yard, who's a very muscular power puncher, another physical guy on top of that. This is who Kovalev has been facing. He's been facing guys like Alvarez, Yard, Andre Ward, The list goes on and on and on. All right, he's been in there with a lot of good fighters. All right, so you have to take that into account. Even though Canelo does have power, he's very talented, a good counter puncher and everything like that. And he has a great inside game, good body puncher and everything. You also have to take into account that Kovalev is used to fighting guys that punch hard too. So you can't just say, and this is why I can't believe people are just saying, oh, he's just gonna dust him off. Maybe Canelo does get the knockout. I don't know. But, I mean, even though Kovalev has proven to be a bit weak to the body, he is with a new trainer, and you're not going to just be hitting him at the body all night long. It doesn't work that way. He knows how to protect his body, and he knows how to fight a really rangy fight. I mean, this guy got good legs. All right, this guy can fight and hold his own. He can keep it in the center, or he can move around. It doesn't matter. Kovalev got skills. He got talent. He's a good boxer, and he's very light on his feet. It's not going to be easy. Canelo is going to have to get in, and he's good at doing that. Yes, but Kovalev is a level above a Daniel Jacobs, who I think is a very talented, skillful fighter. But I think Kovalev is a whole nother level above him as far as talent goes. All right, Daniel Jacobs has a great jab. He has a good useful jab, but Kovalev has a powerful jab. All right, and a jab that he keeps throwing out there. It's a very powerful. He stabs you to the body. He uses it as a range finder. He uses it as a blindness tactic. He uses it for so many things. That's his jab is his money punch. It's his best punch. He has a great right hand. He has a great 1-2 and everything like that. But that jab is everything. And Canelo has shown to have issues with guys with good jabs, all right? He's going to be coming forward and he's going to be getting hit by that jab. How many punches can he take? Yes, he's proven to be durable, but he's never been getting punched by Sergey Kovalev before. He's been punched by Gennady Golovkin, but this is a Gennady Golovkin who doesn't have the legs that a Sergey Kovalev does. He knows how to fight great on the back foot. This is Kovalev I'm talking about. And the thing with Gennady Golovkin is that Canelo had a great game plan. In the first fight, he was countering Golovkin. He was going to Golovkin's body early, and it made Golovkin a little fearful. He wasn't as aggressive. The pressure wasn't there like it normally was. But in the second fight, the reason why, Golovkin's power didn't come into play so much because he wasn't sitting down his punches because he was going backwards. He was being forced to move. All right, so he wasn't sitting down on his punches like he normally would do. All right, he was landing a lot of jabs for sure, but Kovalev's jab is different, man, and it's very hard to get past. You can do it, but you're gonna take damage on doing it. This won't be an easy fight for Canelo, and I'm very shocked that people are not giving Kovalev much of a chance here. I think he has a great chance of winning this fight. All right, a very good chance. All right. Um, Outside of the size thing, I don't think that Canelo is going to be trying to bulk up and put on muscle now that he has, now that he can fight at a higher, weight class. I don't think he's going to be doing much of that. Okay. I think Canelo's already been preparing for this, just because he skipped September. So I think he wants to keep that hand speed advantage going into this fight. I mean, he has to. Okay. When you're fighting a bigger guy and a bigger puncher, that can box very well. One advantage you want to have over a guy like that is hand speed. I mean, that's what Khan had over Canelo when they fought, was the hand speed advantage. You know, he had hand speed, but it wasn't enough, because Khan slows down and Canelo figured him out by the time he knocked him out. So I think even though Canelo is going to be bigger, or probably the biggest we've ever seen him, I don't think he's gonna be too stocky. He wants to keep that hand speed. He wants to keep that hand speed advantage over Sergey Kovalev. I want to beat him to the punch because that is one thing that Yard had, one advantage that Yard had over Kovalev early on. But Yard is nowhere near on the level as far as a skill set level. He's not on Canelo's level. He's just not. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to speak on that. I think one more thing I want to bring up is Kovalev. One thing I do worry about Kovalev is the little bit of time that he had between fights. Okay. I seen him interview at the press conference. He said that he was gonna be okay. He didn't get receive too much punishment from Yard. He says that, but to go right back into training camp without much rest. I'm worried about him possibly being overtrained. Okay. I'm worried about maybe not fully recovering, and having to go right back into preparing for another fight. So those things do take that into account. Yes, especially because he has the youth disadvantage as well. All right, he is an older guy, but in his last couple fights, he's held his own in the later rounds. We already know what happened in that eighth round against Anthony Yard, where he almost got stopped by Anthony Yard. All right, he was hurt bad in that round, and luckily it was towards the end of the round. But Yard did tire out. But Kovalev came on strong in the ninth round, and that was actually one of his best rounds in the fight. And that's not even an old Kovalev. Kovalev was not fighting that well on the later rounds. When he was having issues against uh, Alita Alvarez and Andre Ward. Okay, but in that fight against Yard, he was strong. He looked strong, and that's probably part of the reason. Probably because of him being with Buddy McGirt. So I'm sure that played, you know, had a huge effect on why he's been performing that well. All right. So anyway, I don't know. That could be a thing. It may not be a thing. Kovalev might just be fine. We might get the best Kovalev. I mean, I hope we get the best Kovalev. He needs to be at his absolute best to win this fight. And I also believe that Canelo has to be at his absolute best to win this fight as well. Because this is going to be a tough fight. He's not going to just be able to go to his body like he did against Rocky Fielding. Look at that Rocky Fielding right fight. Watch the very first round of that fight, and you will see that there was nothing. Rocky had nothing there to keep Canelo away. All right, Canelo was blasting his body while Fielding was on the ropes in the very, very first round. At least Chavez Jr. had the lateral movement to keep Canelo away. All right, and a jab, and he fought somewhat rangy to keep Canelo off him. All right, well, Rocky Fielding didn't have that skill set, so you gotta look at it like this. Those guys were bigger than Canelo, but they weren't nearly as good as a Sergey Kovalev or as big as Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev is bigger, as far as a weight division, and he's much, much more talented than all of these guys that Canelo has been facing in recent years. All right, so anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna make more videos on this fight. Obviously, I'm gonna have a full breakdown, where I give you my prediction and everything. Coming up as well. I'm probably gonna address a lot of things I addressed here in this video, but I wanted to talk more about the size because everybody's talking about the size, and you gotta look at everything, put everything in full perspective and everything. All right. So anyway, make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video. Hit me on the Instagram. Donate to the channel, all that good stuff. Peace.